Hey everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to introduce our new November 2024 Black Friday release. We have several new stencils, dies, and stamps, all available to ship immediately. Be sure to check out our blog post for all the details, including details about our free gift with purchase promos. Restrictions apply, so be sure to check out the blog for all of the details. For $50 orders before taxes and shipping, you get this layered ribbon or bow stencil set, stencil 1 and 2, light red, dark red. When you blend both layers, you get this really cute image right here. So you get these free bow stencils with a $50 purchase, but you have to meet the dollar threshold. It has to be before shipping, taxes. There are some restrictions. You cannot combine this promo with other discount codes, etc. Next up, with a $100 order, you get these two bird layering stencils. These two mini stencils are for our mini chickadee stencils, and then these three up here are for our mini cardinal stencils. For our mini chickadee stencils, this is stencil 1. You're going to blend stencil 1 with light gray, and then for stencil 2, there are two elements. You're going to blend a darker gray for the chickadee body and then black for the chickadee head. So that is the mini chickadee stencils. And this is what it looks like when you blend both stencils. Then for our mini cardinal stencils, there are 3 stencils in this little collection. You have the etch numbers on all 3 stencils. For stencil 1, this is the cardinal body. You're going to use light red for stencil 1. You'll use dark red for stencil 2 in this area, and then a light yellow or an orange for the beak on the right side. And then for stencil 3, you have these 3 areas, which you'll blend with black ink for all 3 areas. That is the cardinal neck and his feet. And then this is what the mini cardinal looks like when you blend all 3 layers. So for a $100 order, you get both the chickadee cardinals and the bow stencils. But if you only order $50, you get the bow. Restrictions apply. Make sure you head over to the blog for all the details. So let's start off with our first stencil set, which is our postage winter bird set. There are 5 stencils in this collection. These stencils coordinate with our postage party die. We have our own postage die right here. You can see the die cut. Really cute. We have several designs in our collection that coordinate with the postage die. So our stencils do not coordinate with other companies' postage die cuts. So just keep that in mind. So here is what the finalized blended panel looks like. Really cute. For the second sample here, you can see the blue background. You need the postage window stencil that we have in our collection to create that background. The postage winter bird stencil does not come with a separate stencil for you to blend in that background. You will need that postage window stencil that's available separately to create that blue background. It's not necessary, but we do have it available as an option if you like that background blended look. Next up is our postage bear stencils. There are 5 stencils in this collection. You have 4 main larger size stencils and then this narrow stencil, which is the 5th layer. So you have stencil 1 for the background. Stencil 2 is your red layer. Stencil 3 is your gray layer, but you also have 2 sections where you're going to use a dark red. For stencil 4, you have the black layer. And then for stencil 5, this is the narrow stencil that's included in the set. This is your green layer. You're going to align the upper right corner of this stencil to the upper right corner of your originally blended panel. This is going to be the green layer, so it blends the little pine tree and the snow globe and the holly leaves. So when you're done blending all 5 stencils, you get this really fun, really whimsical blended postage panel. And on the second card, you can see I have some stamped elements on here that I use from our new stamps. We have our new postage seal stamp and our new postage Christmas sentiment stamp. The postage seal set is a 3x4-inch photopolymer set with 6 images, and then the 4x6-inch sentiment set with all the different sentiments that you have in a vertical and a horizontal layout. So you can stamp these inside the postage die cut, but we also have these little words with the numbers so that you can mimic the look of a postage stamp without it actually looking like a postage stamp. So I'm very excited to use these. They're really, really cute. And you can see that it all just comes together on this sample. So instead of the cents or the monetary denominations on the set, I use the 25 for Christmas and then the winter themed words or Christmas themed words. So very excited for this. I also use some additional elements on this card from our Not a Bill stamp set, like the cancellation elements and the heart. Those are from the original Not a Bill stamp set. Here's a close-up look at the postage seal set. So there's some holiday themed seals, but you also have this seal with the empty space inside so that you can customize the seal with small elements that you may have in your stash. Next up is our postcard Christmas set. This is a 4x6-inch photopolymer set. The Merry Christmas sentiment and these lines and the square, these are all one big stamp. So you can stamp that right inside a horizontal A2 panel and you get something like this. And then you have the 3 sentiments in the postcard Christmas set that stamps inside the lined area. The sentiments say, "May this Christmas season fill your home with warmth, light, peace, and joy. Sending warm Christmas greetings this season from our family to yours. Sending holiday greetings and warm winter wishes to you and yours this season." And then you have sending Christmas greetings and happy winter that you can stamp individually. And then on the left side of your postcard, you can stamp or blend any holiday or Christmas image on the left side. So that is yours to customize. I left that space open. So for this sample here, you can see I have Peking Santa on the left side, but I did reverse the image. As you can see, the original Peking Santa, he's coming out of the wall and he's coming out from the right side. But on my postcard, he's coming out from the left side. So all I did was I just flipped my stencils over and I blended on the other side so that he's facing the other way so that he fits on the left side of my postcard. So in addition to Peking Santa, I also used our Mini Bells stencil set on this postcard and our postage seals stamp. So this is our Mini Bells stencil set. There are 5 stencils in this collection. The first 2 layers are the holly leaves layers, light green, dark green, and then 3, 4, and 5 are the layers for the bells, and then 2 layers for the little bow that are on the center of this design. When you're blending the bow layers for the mini bells, you are going to have to shift the stencils down to blend the bow layers, and you will see that when you get the stencils. It's pretty obvious, but I will have a video on how to blend these layers soon. So this is what the mini bells look like when you blend all 5 layers. Very detailed, very pretty. We also have a coordinating die that will cut out the Mini Bells image into a nice intricate die. Next up is our Winter Bear stencils. There are 3 stencils in this collection. When you blend the first layer, that is the background. The stencil says blue on it, but I actually went with pink for the background layer on my samples. For stencil 2, there are 2 elements. You have the cheeks, the 2 circles along the top portion of the stencil, and then the scarf on the lower portion of the stencil. Make sure to align the top 2 corners of each layer so that they align perfectly. Stencil 3 is the face of our winter bear, and you're going to blend black for this layer. So just align the top 2 corners of the stencil to the top 2 corners of your previously blended stencils 1 and 2. So when you blend all 3 stencils, you get a really adorable image just like this, and you can get creative with the colors that you use. The sentiment that you see on this card is from our Script Holiday Notes stamp. This is a 3x4-inch photopolymer set. It is 1 stamp. There are 6 sentiments on 1 base, so you will be stamping all 6 sentiments in one single shot, and you can use a stamp platform to stamp this easily. We have a coordinating die that will cut out all 6 sentiments in one shot. And there's a mix of holiday sentiments. You also have a Thanksgiving and Hanukkah sentiment in this set as well. And this is what they look like when they're all cut out. So very easy to mass produce. It's a really great set if you need some quick sentiments. For our last stamp, we have our Postage Fall Sentiments. This is a 3x4-inch photopolymer set, and you'll have different fall or autumn themed sentiments that you can stamp in your fall or autumn themed postage die cuts. So this set is really great because you have the sentiments going horizontally across your page, but you also have the vertical sentiments as well. So it's a very, very fun set. Next up is our Vintage Deer Layering Stencils. This is a 2 stencil collection. For stencil 1, you have an etch circle right over here. You're going to blend black inside that area, and then the rest of the stencil is light brown. For stencil 2, you have another etch circle, which we're going to blend black inside, and then the rest of the stencil is dark brown. This is the finalized blended image. The coordinating die is not available just yet. It will be available in a few weeks, so be sure to stay tuned to our social media and our blog. We'll announce the availability of the die on those platforms. So this is what the vintage deer will look like when you cut it out. Really cute, and it goes very nicely with our new layered bow GWP that is available with a $50 purchase. But just remember, restrictions apply, so head to the blog for all those details. Here is a card that I created with the vintage deer. The leaves are from the Holiday Bells mini stencil set, and I also used the new free gift with purchase bow layering set as well. I love the size of the holly leaves from the mini bells, so I just took I took the bells off and only used the leaves for. And for the background, I used our new Plaid layering stencils. There are 3 stencils in the Plaid stencil set. You have the first layer, which is the main thick stripes. The second layer is the green stencil in the back with the double stripes. The double stripes will be blended in between the main thick layers. And for the last layer, the thin layer, these stripes get blended inside the main layer. But as long as you place each subsequent stencil inside the previous stencil, they'll align beautifully. You don't have to shift the stencils. All you need to do is blend all 3 horizontally and then rotate your stencils 90 degrees to blend them vertically to get that plaid background. We have 3 new nested dies in our November release. First, I'll introduce our postage nested dies. There are 6 dies in this collection, and they'll cut out the edging, which has that postage effect. And you can see that the largest die is slightly smaller than A2. You also have some piercing details along the inner portion of the edges to give it a nice finished look. We also have these stencil masks that coordinate with the postage nested dies. There are 6 of these framed masks in the collection. These are available separately, but you can use these on each of the postage panel die cuts. These are going to mask off the edges so that you can blend inside each of the panels. This way you can use non-postage themed products to use inside the panels. You don't have to use postage stencils. You can use whatever you have in your stash, but you can create a more finished look with the stencil masks that allow you to blend the background. So there are 6 of these stencil masks in the set, and they coordinate with the 6 nested panel dies that are available separately. Next up is our striped edge nested dies. There are 6 dies in this collection. These dies will create a striped edge along the edges of your panel. The largest die is an A2 size die. So here is an example of what the die cut panels look like. It just gives a really nice finished look to one layered cards. Next up is our inner scallop dies. There are also 6 dies in this nested collection. These dies create frames with a scalloped edge on the inside of the frame. And here's a sample of a die cut. You can see there are piercing details on the edge as well. And here's a look at the smallest die in the inner scallop nested die collection. Really, really cute. Very excited to use. Next up is our single sunflower layering stencils. There are 3 stencils in this collection for the first layer. For the top half of the first layer, you have the first layer of the petals, and then for the lower half, you have the first layer of the foliage. For stencil 2, you have the second layer of the petals on top, and then you have the sunflower center along the lower portion of stencil 2. You're just going to have to shift the stencil up to blend the center. For stencil 3, you have the third layer of the petals up top, and then the second layer of the foliage along the lower portion of the stencils. When you blend all 3 layers, you get a blended image just like this. We have a coordinating die for the single sunflower, and it's available immediately. This is what the die cut looks like. The finished or finalized die cut, it's slightly larger than A2. You could see the stem comes off along the bottom portion of our A2 panel, but you can just cut that right off. You can see that it does fit nicely inside an A2. I actually blended these stencils inside the largest postage panel nested die to create this card that you see, and I used the coordinating mask to blend the background. And here's a coordinating die for the set. Is our Sunflowers Unlocked stencils. This is a 4 stencil collection. You have 3 layers for the petals, and then you have a narrow stencil for the sunflower center. When you blend all 4 layers, you're going to get this beautifully blended panel of 4 sunflowers. The coordinating die is 1 die, and it will cut out all 4 sunflowers in one single shot. This is a great set if you want to mass produce your sunflowers and make your own customized floral clusters. Our sunflower leaf stencil is a separate stencil. This does not come with the Sunflowers Unlocked set. This is separate. You're going to blend the top layer, which is the first foliage layer, with light green. Then you're going to take the stencil off, rotate it 180 degrees. You're going to turn it upside down, align the upper left corner of the stencil to the upper left corner of the originally blended panel, and you're going to use a dark green for that second layer, and this is what you get when you blend both layers. The coordinating die is 1 die, and it will cut out all 4 leaves in one shot. So this set is great for mass production as well. Here's a card that I created using the Sunflowers Unlocked and the Sunflower Leaves stencil. The background was created with the Plaid layering stencils, and I just used different shades of pink. And then I used the largest inner scallop die for the edge, and then for that second border that you see inside, I just used a negative piece of one of the postage panel die cuts. And here's actually a few samples of different multicolored plaid looks that I created using the Plaid stencils. I used a combination of red and green inks to create a more Christmas themed background. For this one, I use orange and green for a more autumn themed plaid background. It's a really fun set because you can experiment with different colors to get different looks. I was very excited to try out different colors for this layering. Next up is our Sunflower Party stencils. This is a large 9.5 inch by 12 inch stencil. There are etched corners on the actual stencil. It's going to show you exactly where you need to adhere your 8.5 inch by 11 inch piece of cardstock behind the stencil. So here I have an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I'm going to place it right behind stencil 1, and you're just going to align it right behind the brackets that are etched right on the stencil. Once you've aligned the cardstock behind the stencil, you're just going to tape that cardstock behind the stencil. You can just use 4 small pieces of tape to adhere the cardstock temporarily to the back of the stencil. Then this is stencil 1. You're going to blend a light yellow on the entire stencil. It's the first petal layer. Then for stencil 2, you can see the large etch 2, and you can see second petal layer etched right on the stencil. This is going to be your mid-tone yellow. And not to worry, the first stencil also has the etched number and instructions. After you're done blending a mid-tone yellow on stencil 2, you're going to take that stencil off, replace it with stencil 3 so you can see the etched 3, and it says third petal layer right on this stencil. and you're going to use a dark yellow for this layer. Then you're going to take that stencil off and you're going to replace it with stencil 4, which is the first foliage layer. You can see the large etched 4, and it also says light green right on the stencil. It also says first foliage layer, so you know which layer you're on. You're going to blend the entire layer with a lighter green. Then for the last and final layer, there are 2 elements on stencil 5. You see the large etch 5 on the lower right portion of the stencil, and then all those circled etched areas, you're going to blend brown for the sunflower centers. The rest of the stencil, you're going to use a darker green for the second foliage layer. And then once you're done blending this last layer, you're going to get a finished blended panel just like this. This is an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. You're going to cut it in half vertically and horizontally. And what you have are 4 A2 size panels ready to go. We have coordinating dies that will cut out all 4 panels. However, the dies are not necessary, but we do have them available. It makes the set a little bit more versatile. There are 4 dies in the coordinating die collection. The dies are available separately. They do not come with the stencils, but they cut out all 4 panels. And here is what each panel looks like when it's die cut and created into finished cards. This is the panel on the upper left. You can see this is the panel on the lower left. This die will cut out both clusters, so you have 2 pieces, and then the 4th die will cut out the center of the lower right panel. Next up is our 2 standalone dies. These are 2 separate die collections. This is our Dazzling Daisies, and this actually comes all connected. You just have to break off this piece. I usually try to keep everything together because I cut out everything on white cardstock, but this is too big to fit onto the Gemini Junior plates, so I did have to take the piece on the right off. So for the Dazzling Daisies, there are actually 4 dies and several elements on each die. This is the Pleasant Peonies on the left. These are 3 dies, but each die cuts out several different pieces. Let's go over Dazzling Daisies first. There are 2 sizes of daisies. This is the larger daisy on the bottom and then the smaller daisy on top. And each daisy has 3 petals, and you can see the hearts in the center. You're going to use the hearts to align each petal layer. So I've gone ahead and cut out the pieces on white cardstock. So these are the 2 petal layers that you just align together, and this is the 3rd petal layer. There's a cut line on the left side. That's how you know that it's oriented the correct way. So the 3rd petal layer just goes right on top, and you align the lower portion of the heart. This is the center of the daisy. I usually just blend these 2 pieces with yellow, and then you glue these 2 pieces together, and once you finalize this centerpiece, this just gets glued right over the heart in the center of the daisy. And then you have this die that cuts out several pieces of the foliage and the daisy stems. So next up is the Pleasant Peony standalone dies. This is separate from the Dazzling Daisies. So you have 3 dies in this collection, this large plate that cuts out several of the petal layers, and then 1 die that cuts out 2 foliage pieces, and then 1 die that cuts out the peony center. The first 3 layers of the peony petals have scored numbers on them. So as you die cut the petals, they will also score the numbers right onto the petals. But don't worry, as you layer each petal, the score numbers will be covered up by the subsequent layer, but the numbers are there so that you know what order to go in. So you just align the cutout hearts. You start with number 1, you put number 2 right over number 1, aligning the heart, and then stencil 3 also has the scored 3 right on the petal. You just align the heart just like that. And then this is the 4th petal. That one does not have the scored number 4 because you're going to be able to see it because it doesn't get covered up. So after you've layered the first 4 petal layers, you're going to place the peony center, and you're going to align the point that's in the cutout on this center layer, and you have this cut line on the left side. You want to make sure that cut line is on the lower left portion. That's how you know you've positioned it correctly. You're going to align this point on the cutout. That is the point of the heart. So if this cut line is on the right side, you just have to rotate this piece until that cut line is along the lower left portion, or like the lower portion. You want to make sure it's positioned this way, and then you just stick it right on top and align the point of that cutout to the lower point of the heart. Then you're going to take this piece and you're just going to cover a portion of the peony center, and then you have this little piece. This goes right onto this petal right over here, and the petal has a scored line on it, so you'll know exactly where you need to glue this piece. So this is what it will look like, and obviously the flower is going to look much prettier if you blend the pieces with some ink. And this is what one of the leaves look like. It has the cut lines right inside, giving it some texture. Here are some samples created by our design team members. All of their blog links are linked on the release blog post, so be sure to check out the November release blog post for all the details on this release, the free gift with purchase promotions, and blog links to coordinating design team members' blogs for details on their cards. So remember that the free gift with purchase promo, it does have an end date, so head over to the blog. We will link it in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support this year. I hope you enjoyed our November Black Friday release. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.